Oh, that's great. I was gonna. Yeah.
So look, we're good? Okay. Very good. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this workshop meeting of the Town of Henrietta Planning Board on Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Members present, Patricia Brill, Craig Eckert, Walter Liss, Melissa
So look, we're
Franek,
good.
Donald Young, Planning Board Attorney, and Town Staff, Chris Martin, Director of Engineering and Planning, and Luke Bushin, Deputy Director of Engineering and Planning. At this point, I will invite all present to join the board in standing and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We just have one application this evening. It's application number 24-006. It's the Henrietta East Cell Tower from AT&T Centerline Communications. This would be for final site plan approval of a 94-foot tall cell tower with a 4-foot tall lightning rod to be located at 230 Pinnacle Road, near the eastern side of the Henrietta Fire District building. We're actually not going to act on this evening. We're going to change things up a little bit. And we wanted to invite the public tonight. It's not a formal public hearing, but we wanted to invite the public to share any comments or concerns they might have after the presentation from Brenda on behalf of the applicant. So Brenda, I'm going to turn it over to you right now. I'll have you step up to the mic. You can introduce yourself. I don't know if you had a chance to sign in back there yet, but you can do that before you leave if remember. And I'll let you present. We'll run through the board with our comments and concerns, and then we'll open it up to the public, either in person here or anybody that might be online. Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
So welcome. Yep.
I appreciate being here tonight to discuss this project with you. What AT&T is proposing to do, as you indicated.
Yep. Can
is-
you maybe move the mic up a little bit closer
Oh,
to your
Yeah.
mouth
Brenda,
there?
Is that better?
You gotta be so.
Right
close
on
to
top
these.
of it.
There we go. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. I'll just introduce myself. I'm Brenda Blask Lewis. I work with Centerline Communications.
Can you
and we-
spell your last name for me, please?
Sure. It's B as in boy, L-A-S, K as in Kimberly, hyphen L-E-W-I-S. Got to be difficult.
ELASK.
Yep. L-E-W-I-S. There's a hyphen.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
So the purpose of the application is AT&T is looking to construct a tower on property owned by the fire department at 230 Pinnacle Road. It's a 90-foot monopole. Will be on the north or east side of the building, as you indicated. Oh, sorry. I guess you get,
Like that.
okay.
It's
Is that better?
Comfortably close.
Okay. All right. So I'll start again. The application by AT&T is to build a new 90-foot monopole tower on the north side of the not the north side, I'm sorry, the east side of the fire department building at 230 Pinnacle Road. I guess I think you've got the drawings up. If you can go to the kind of like the site plan, can kind of give you an overview of what the project looks like. In that circle area, on that he's pointing to, the tower will be right near the small door of the fire department building. And within that same area, is the lease area that will be where they'll install their equipment and a backup generator. So that's pretty much the scope of the project. On the tower, they'll install their antennas and radios in the equipment cabinets, this just ground equipment. And then, like I said, it's a small backup generator next to the building. It's kind of to the south of where the pole is. That's where their backup generator is.
Okay.
Is there any?
Yep. Thank you, Brenda. And so the purpose of this is to fill in a gap in service, right?
Exactly. There's a gap in coverage between West Jefferson Road to the north along Pinnacle Road and then south to Calkins Road. And
Okay.
that's the coverage area.
All right. And the height of this again is?
90 feet, and then there's a 4-foot lightning rod. So it's an
Okay.
overall height of 94 feet.
Yep. Okay, very good. You did see Chris's comments, correct?
I did.
Yep, okay. Anything that stands out for you as problematic or
No.
challenging at all?
No, we've addressed all of his comments in the drawings and then the additional documentation that he requested. We provided it in a supplemental submission that we sent on Friday. And actually I got the last part of it we sent in on Monday because we got the long EAF form.
Yep.
And we sent in a breakpoint letter from Well, it was prepared by Albo Engineering that shows how the tower will be engineered with a breakpoint kind of at the 55-foot marker on the tower. So those are the things that we supplemented on Monday.
Okay. And then you saw the county's comments as well. So everything. in the
I don't think
packet-
I saw the county's comments yet.
Monroe County, okay.
No. Are they in the drawings that you just gave me?
I have a copy right here, Brenda, if you want to grab them.
Sure.
This is part of their comments.
That's their application. Yep, their secrets.
Thank you.
Yeah, there wasn't much in there. I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to see those. Okay, well, at this point, I'll open it up to the board and Mr. Eckert, I'll be happy to start with you this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Gurnett.
You're welcome.
I guess my only question is back to Chris Mark's comment too on the fall zone. We're 40 feet from the property line and 100 from the building. You have 100-foot pole.
And the way the pole is going to be designed is, like I said, there's going to be a break point at the 55-foot pole. So in the event, the unlikely event that it ever collapsed, it would collapse in. It so basically like has a hinge and it'll just fold. So it won't leave the fire department's property.
You're saying it won't fall that way, it'll break
No,
in
it
half
would,
and
it
fall.
would just kind of,
Yep.
it would just fold in half. That's the way it will be designed.
That deep code.
Or if the applicant can prove to us what the fall zone is, that could be a second. So again, we didn't look at the structure before we got to verify that. But if the tower doesn't do that itself, the break on itself, then that could reduce what the setback is.
Okay. Okay.
Chris, forgive me, tower height plus how many feet?
Yeah, I'll just read, since this was probably gonna be a significant issue, or question, I should say, at least, that needs to be resolved. I'm just gonna read the code to you, so there is no ambiguity. So under D1A of the cell tower, provisions, it's entitled setbacks. And it says that all towers shall be set back from all adjacent property lines in a sufficient distance to safeguard the general public and or adjacent property in order to contain on site substantially all ice fall or debris from tower failure. In the absence of any evidence supporting a greater or lesser setback distance, a setback of the tower from any adjacent residential property line equal to the tower height plus 25 feet and a setback of at least 50 feet from other adjacent property line shall be deemed adequate. These required setbacks may be decreased in those instances when the applicant has submitted plans for a tower designed to minimize damage to adjacent properties in the event of a structural failure. Accessory structures and guy anchors must comply with the minimum setback requirements of the underlying district.
So a structural break, so a potential break in the structure meets the code.
Can you go to the tower drawing? I think it's a couple in there.
That still says 50 feet, yeah.
It's right here.
And can I see that, please?
I'm speaking into the mic, I'm doing what I can.
Here, let me just.
So right now on the board, we have the cell tower itself. And you can see where it had 50 feet up from the bottom, there's a break point,
55 feet.
55
Yep.
feet. So if I understand that correct, Brenda, and we'll
Mhm.
look through the structural calculations.
that is, there is a tower failure, by the wind or ice or whatever, that it would break on itself.
Correct.
I guess I mean, is there a structural report that says it won't break at the base?
We haven't run a structural yet. This is a tower that hasn't been built. And until they choose a company that will manufacture the tower, that information won't be available until probably after, getting closer towards, zoning approval and building permit. So we will provide a copy of the tower drawings and the foundation design as soon as they're available.
Okay, but at this point, asking to approve something that you say is gonna fail someplace else without proof that it's gonna fail.
Well, like I said, we provided a letter from an engineering firm that's, signed and stamped from an engineering firm that designs these all the time. That the tower, should it ever fail at the 55-foot break point, it would just literally collapse on itself and it won't fall outwards. It's not going to go like towards the driveway or any of the properties.
Not fall back down.
I mean, if it fell, it would fall on the building. I mean, because it's right off the back of the building,
Right, so it could damage the firehouse.
but
Wow.
not a neighboring parcel.
Okay, so this is new information that I'm just picking up now that wasn't in my packet, right?
It came out Friday.
Yeah.
So it should have been in your packet on Friday. It was an addendum to it.
I didn't see the addendum in my notes.
No.
Okay, I mean, review of cell towers, that was the comment that I had,
Okay,
and my concern from this point.
thank you, Mr. Eckert.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The chair will recognize Mrs. Brill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So are there any towers like this anywhere in the surrounding county?
As far as with a break point,
Correct.
that I'm not sure of.
You guys familiar with this type of tower at all?
I mean, certainly we have a number of monopole type towers in the town.
But nothing with a break point, correct?
I mean, not to my knowledge, no. I mean, I'm
And like I said,
sure
we,
some of them may have that. There is one off of Erie Station or Martin Road that's very close proximity to residences. But I'd have to look in the file to see if that has a break point or what. the
Any
policy
that we've
is.
reviewed since I've been on the board, that term break point has not come up.
Yeah, it may not have. We haven't done many new towers in the last 10 years. Most have been co-locations.
Mhm. So, it's fabulous. It's not going to fall on the neighboring homes. And I suppose with or without breakpoint being in such close proximity, it would fall on the fire department. But this is their request to have it at that location?
this is what the location that we chose with the fire department.
And the other thing that jumped out at me, and forgive me, I don't have it in notes, this is from memory, was a diesel generator.
Correct.
Can you explain when that diesel generator would be utilized?
In
And-
the event like of a weather emergency and the power went out, then that would kick in and it would also kick on. I believe it's once a week. They do it does a test, a kick test.
I was on location today where the test went in, yep.
Yep. So that's what it would be for. Generally, it's a once a week, do its test to make sure that it's operating properly. And then in the event of a power failure, then they have power because some of the equipment on the antenna or on the tower are going to be FirstNet radios for first responders. So you don't want to lose power.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, Mrs. Brill. So Brenda, we haven't done one of these in quite a while. Is this break point, is that kind of new technology for monopoles at all? I mean, in the last 7, 8, 9 years,
I mean, I've seen a few of them, maybe not here in Henrietta, but we just did one in the city of Binghamton.
okay,
The break point. And, we went through the zoning board and the planning board and they had the same type of questions that you had.
yeah,
Similar scenario where in this case, they weren't close to like so much residential properties, but it was close to the road.
yeah. I'm just wondering if the creation of breakpoints in these constructions are like within the past decade or if they were used even before that. Because I can't remember when the last cell tower we did here. Yeah. So I was just curious.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. The chair will recognize Mr. List.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Chairman.
welcome.
I noticed you had in the site plan brochures, you had looked at 6 other locations
Correct.
within a 2 to 3 mile radius of
Yeah.
this location. And you determined that it's not going to satisfy your coverage or the coverage that you need.
Oh,
Is that correct?
not so much that it wouldn't satisfy. We looked at a number of locations and for
Yeah.
whatever reasons, they weren't going to work. We kind of got, this project has been around for a long time. And this is the location that we've chosen is the best location where we can provide the coverage in the areas that need it the most.
Is there a reason I mean, it's all coming from AT&T, correct?
Uh,
The need, the response from customers that are not getting
Correct. So
coverage, is that correct?
yes, it's correct.
Because I have my doubts about cell phone towers. I mean, I've done a little bit looking into the weeds and the health effects and the proximity to homes, schools. And there are many municipalities in New York State and school districts that simply don't want them anymore. And quite honestly, I really am against this project. I don't think of a need, I think if you could find another location
I mean,
that
we'd
wasn't
like,
close to homes. I know you've
yeah,
looked, but you
we've
could,
looked, we definitely have looked.
maybe you could look some more, maybe you look higher.
We pretty much have exhausted the search ring. In order to provide the coverage it's needed. I mean, you can tell by the propagation maps provided by the AT&T RF engineer, there's definitely a gap in service. And that's why we've been looking, just exhaustively at different sites. We looked at a town property and we, it would have, worked, but then we ran into a problem with SHPO. It wasn't a property that I had looked at, but the project manager before me had looked at it, and I know that the town I'm sure the town had found out that the State Historic Preservation Office they shut it down.
Mhm.
So I mean, we have looked at other locations, but this is the site that works the best.
Okay. On the lease, I did look at the lease agreement with the fire district and that was redacted the amount. What is the fire district gaining? What is the income that they're
I
they're
don't know.
getting money for leasing?
Yeah,
that piece of property?
AT&T is paying
How much
the
is
monthly
that?
rent. I don't have the figure
don't
in
have the
front of
figure?
me.
There is an individual present.
I couldn't tell if there was so much negotiation that I could not.
I mean, if the board wants that, I can, I'll
don't
check with
have
AT&T.
You don't have
provide.
that figure then.
I don't
No,
think
I
the
don't have it.
specific number.
Yeah, I don't-
is
If
relevant.
if I actually may just interject real quick here, sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Young.
Let's just make sure that my suggestion is so I had sent out the code, in the factors that need to be considered, a reference to the code that we're considering relevant factors to our land use decision. There's kind of two layers. One, what's in our code? What are we looking at? Certainly the setback issue that Mr. Eckert raised, is an issue. I'm not sure how the amount of rent would be relevant to a land use decision.
We're just looking at the body of the work in the email.
But the other thing I wanted to mention.
I know
Sure, yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention is that FCC has certain rules. I also had noted that in my correspondence to the board about citing towers, and I'm reading from the FCC website right now, says that the statute, it's referencing a federal statute, preempts local decisions premised directly or indirectly on the environmental effects of radio frequency emissions. So the FCC has essentially said there that our local decision shouldn't be based on effects of the RF emissions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman.
Sumptuous, thank you. Chair will recognize Mr. Flanagan.
I just, Mr. Martin, do we have any other projects of this size, any monopoles, that are close to that height?
Oh, throughout the town? I
Yeah.
mean, within the last, 30 years, we probably have over a dozen towers, if not more. Some are higher, some are shorter. So absolutely, we have towers that are higher than this, that are on monopoles. Certainly, we haven't had any issues. We haven't had any tower failures or equipment failures or anything like that. In fact, we have one outside here, in our DPW facility.
Yeah.
We also have, there's one on Martin Road
Mhm.
that is, very close proximity to a residential area. And again, that was probably done prior to me being town engineer, but I know they went through a very rigorous process with that as well, with the fall zones and things like that. So to answer your question, yes, we do have other cell towers very similar to this scattered throughout the town.
Okay. And you have, I know that you must have a lot of other cell towers as well. You said that this is the first one with the break point.
In this area, we've
In
done,
this area.
yeah, that I've worked on, that doesn't mean that there are not others. But this is the first one that I've worked on in the town of Henrietta.
Okay. And are you aware of any ones, outside of this area that are
There's
maybe
a-
within the eastern?
There's
region?
one on East Henrietta Road. It's a 100-foot tower. It's near a it's in an industrial area, but it's near a residential area. It's not very far from it. And that one is only probably 4 years old, maybe. So I mean, if you want more information on that, maybe we can, provide that to you.
Okay,
Or you
And,
can
uh,
drive by. I could get you the address because you could drive by and see it.
great.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
could, oh, I'm sorry. I
No,
was
go
gonna
ahead,
say,
go ahead.
I could also provide the board with, we have a map that has all the tower locations in Henrietta. If the board is interested, we can provide that as well as and if you want to go and scope some of these things out in the next couple of weeks, that's fine.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you. I appreciate that. To your knowledge, there has not been any catastrophic failures of any of the AT&T cell towers?
None since I've been working with AT&T, and it's been almost 8 years or
Okay.
7 years.
Great,
It's been a while.
fantastic. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Franek. So Brenda, we have an email from a residents, Mr. and Mrs. Aaron Rand, and you saw this email, I believe, correct?
I did.
Yep, so I just want to go through these bullets with you right now. We'll address those before we invite the residents to come up and ask anything that they have. But the Rands asked a question about, will living so close to the tower have any effect on my health or on their health?
Yeah, the towers are heavily regulated by the FCC. So, it's 100, on 90-foot tower, you're not going to be anywhere close to it. And the RF emissions is going to be, minute.
Okay, thank you. Will the tower affect their TV reception? They use a TV antenna and do not subscribe to a cable service.
No, the AT&T uses different frequencies than what's used for television.
Will the cell tower affect the resale value of their home? If it does, will AT&T offer compensation?
There's no way to know if it would have any impact on resale values. It's, property values from talking with people who live in areas where cell towers are, it's actually like a good thing because people will be more, apt to come to an area if they know they've got good coverage. As far as like reimbursing for their, compensating them for resale, AT&T wouldn't do that.
Okay. Are there any other effects known that a cell tower of that size could cause?
I'm not sure other than, his question about the health. I would have to know more what he's asking about.
Yeah. And then they suggest, why don't we move the cell tower to the front of the firehouse down towards Winton or Pinnacle Roads there?
That's something that we could consider, but we'd have to discuss it with the fire department because we had, like I said, we negotiated to have the tower, on the east side of the building.
Mhm.
So we could, discuss it with them and AT&T and see what their thoughts are.
Okay. Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Can you in the audience advise if a conversation's been had for different locations around the property? Thank you.
Can we get your name, sir, again? Just
Chief Cholak,
Chief Cholak. Yeah.
Can you spell that?
CHOLACH.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, well, at this time, I will invite any members of the audience to come up. But I'll tell you what, Brenda, yep, and we've got a handheld mic there. Or actually, there's a mic on the table. That's right. Yep.
See the supplement.
So would anybody in the audience like to come up and ask a question or voice a concern at all? I'll have you introduce yourself with your address, please.
Hi, my name is Barbara Padzik. I live at 20 Legacy Oak Trail, right in back of the firehouse.
What's your last name, Barbara?
Padzik, Patzig,
22,
20,
street name again?
Barbara Padzik,
No, street name.
The street name?
20 Legacy Oak.
Legacy Oak. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone at the board ever walked past the houses in back of the firehouse where this proposal is?
Yeah.
That's number one.
Yeah.
Okay, you have walked behind our houses?
Not behind.
All right.
Behind them.
I haven't walked behind the house. I've walked between, the church as far as I can see up behind and up down, up through Bell Tower Lane.
Okay, so you have walked behind our houses on Legacy. Is that correct or not?
No, I said I have not walked behind your house. I
Okay.
walked behind the church and up to the street behind, Bell Tower.
Okay, well, that's not the area that's going to be affected by this tower.
Yes, Bell Tower Lane comes up to the south side of the fire department and the south side of the 4 units.
All right, is this tower not going to be in back of Legacy?
Yeah, it's gonna be behind,
Okay.
on the east side of the fire department and the west side of the 4 units. I believe it's 8, 12, 16, and 20.
That's ours, so,
Correct.
so you have not walked our property at all?
Ma'am, as I've said, no.
Okay,
No,
so
I've
if you
not
can
walked
have,
Private property, I've walked Bell Tower Lane. the
Okay.
Private, the public road.
well, you're welcome to walk on the property anytime you want. The other thing is this tower is what, 94 feet? A break is at 55? All right, what is the distance between the property and our property? Is that 40 feet? Is that correct?
There's, from what I could measure on Google Earth, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Ms.
Does that say
Mr.
40?
Record.
Measured about
Okay.
100 feet from, I don't, not your residence, the one south of you, from building to building. It looked to be about 100 feet.
Okay, she can verify that on the map there, it says that the property line is approximately 40 feet
Well,
from where,
to Aaron and Regina Rand's house? that's
yes, but that's what I'm saying. It's the property line where the firehouse is 40 feet from the tower. Is that not correct? From the tower to the end of the fire
Tower
to
to the
the
property line.
property line.
is 40 feet. So if the break on this tower is 55, you still have another 40. Is that not correct? Or 44 feet where this tower could still come down. There's no guarantee with the winds or anything else that that break is going to be definitely going towards the firehouse. You can't guarantee this, and I don't care who builds whatever. When the winds come in and you know, what was it, 2016? When the winds came down, that one area took all the poles out by the Cadillac and everything else. You just can't guarantee that this is going to fall this way once those winds come across. And especially down 20 and 16, where I am, that those winds just come right down in between the two areas there. So you can't tell me you're going to guarantee this, and especially if you have no idea who's going to build this. You know, it's just, if you put it in front of the firehouse, that's a no issue. But if you would please walk the property and see, the firehouse is up on the hill. We are down lower. And if that thing comes down, it's going to come down this way, whether you try to guarantee that it's going to fall the right way or not, you can't. There's no guarantees. So please walk the property. I don't think any of us have a problem with the tower going up, but we do have a problem where the tower is going up. I don't think you'd want it in the back of your house that close either. And as far as property, I would never buy a house where there's a tower behind my house. I just, for me, it's just not good for the environment, for myself, for my health. So, and I'm not an AT&T person, so I'm not going to get any benefit from it. So that's what I have to say. I don't know if anybody else has anything.
Thank you, Ms. Patzig. Yeah.
Anna, may I ask you a question? How
Yes.
far do you believe is from the back of your house to the back of your property?
I'd have to kind of measure it because don't forget, we're down on the bottom of a hill. So, I mean, the property line goes up this way. So you can tell me I'm 60 feet, but it's 60 feet this way, not 60 feet this way.
Right? That's what
So,
I've just asked. And then
yeah,
again,
no, not a problem. But I just would really like you guys to come to walk the property line. Because 94 feet is fine, but if that thing comes down, we're right behind it down below it, so. Sorry, AT&T.
Thank you. Good evening.
My name is Joan Claire, C-L-A-R. And I live at 11 Legacy Oak Trail and across the street from where Barbara lives. I'm not so, well, I don't like the sight of a monstrosity of 100-foot or a 94-foot post or antenna. But you were talking about the generator testing out every week. I have a neighbor 2 doors down from me who has a generator and it's loud. That's just a home generator. And I'm just wondering about the noise effect of the testing every week. That bothers me as well. So, no.
Brenda, are you able to comment on that at all? And,
So-
yeah, hold the button or is the desk mic working for you?
Just hold that button for longer than you would normally think.
No.
The light will come on and then just tap the top.
Oh, it's right. Which one? You do it. You do it. Time technology. Okay, that's not working, I guess. Not working.
You can turn on the desk one.
That might be.
There we go.
Okay, regarding the generator, the fire department currently has a generator on their property that's a lot larger than what AT&T is proposing. And, we can try to see if they can sync them up so that when their generator tests, AT&T tests at the same time. I mean, that's something that we could offer. But I've been near these generators. They're not very big and they're not really that loud, especially the newer generators. I mean, if your neighbor has one, it might be an older one because I have an older one and it is loud.
The other question is, the pole itself, are they going to have, I've seen these,
Joan, can you talk into the mic?
oh, sorry.
No.
Um,
please, thank you.
I've seen these, I'm just curious, the site of it, is it going to have a lot of, like,
Antennas on it?
antennas all over the place, up
Uh,
and down?
AT&T is going to have their antennas up there and I believe they're doing an array of, I think, 9. Don't hold me to that just yet. I've got to check my notes. But the tower won't be lit, so you're not going to see like a red light flashing or any kind of a beacon like that on it. And this tower is kind of, it's not that much taller than the existing wooden pole that's right behind the fire department, and they have
It
just have
is,
an
it's
antenna.
twice the height.
No, the pole that the fire department has is 80 feet. And we're proposing a 90-foot tower with a 4-foot lightning rod.
Oh,
So it's not a lot taller.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Clark, do you hear the fire department's generator from your home at this point?
not.
You
I
don't?
do not, no.
Okay,
I don't know if my neighbors who live on the other side of the street, that I don't know.
okay.
Now,
Joan, I just want to point out to you, there is a image of what the tower will look like on the left side of the
Yeah.
screen.
Now that's just with a single carrier, right?
right, so that's a good,
And co-location, you could have 2 or 1 or 2 more different.
Yeah,
locations.
and that would be up to another carrier if they wanted to co-locate. If they were okay with being at a lower rad, lower position on the tower, then, it will be designed so that it could potentially, hold other
So
carriers.
that's what we consider a single array right now.
Correct.
Correct.
Single carrier. I don't.
And I agree with my neighbor Barbara, as far as it's unsightly in a neighborhood, and I would prefer it not be there.
Thank you.
Dare to say pretty common for companies to co-locate
Mm.
an existing tower. And in fact,
Yeah.
that's one reason I think the town kind of encourages it to help minimize how many poles and they have co-location.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Aaron Rand. I live at 16 Legacy Oak Trail,
Can you spell your last name, please?
R-A-N-D.
Oh, you're the one that wrote the letter. Sorry. Thank you so much.
The tower is approximately 100 feet from my home. You said earlier that the existing tower is 80 feet.
The wooden pole.
The wooden
at the
pole.
firehouse.
Wooden pole is
She stated the existing pole was about 80 feet.
80 feet. And how long has that been in existence?
That building's been in since 2000, 15, 17.
Okay. Yeah, we bought our place about 10 years ago. There was a little nice one-story firehouse behind our house. And then the new facility was built, got a tower. Firehouse agreed to put some planting behind the house so that the two-story building would be somewhat obscured now. The trees are somewhat blocking it, but it's still there. And the other pole is sort of to the left of us, but we're directly in front of that. And I've been reading about health issues regarding poles like this that would dispute your view. So I'm concerned about those issues. And this new tower is going to be quite an interesting site up on the hill. And I'd recommend you take a drive up Legacy Oak Trail and walk behind the houses. Might give you a totally different view. In a former life, I was a practicing architect, so I have some sense of what views should be like, and I also know that the little cute firehouse that was there when I bought the place 10 years ago probably would have no effect on resale value. And when it went up, I said, oh my God, two-story building to look at. And I know that's going to someday have an effect for my heirs when they try to sell the property I live in now. And with this, believe me, there's certainly going to be some effect. There's no question about it. Visual effects certainly affect how people look at properties. So I can't support this at all. I don't think any of you who would like to sit out on my back porch staring at where the firehouse now and imagining 100 feet of tower with lots of arrays on it might look like, how you would like living there. So I'd encourage you to take a walk out there and take a look before you vote on this.
Mr. Rand, what's your house number? I'm sorry.
16 Legacy
Six.
Oak.
Thank you.
If you looked at the plan, I'm the house directly behind this. I don't think there's a member of this board who would want that behind their house 100 feet away. Certainly there must have been properties that could place this tower, 500 feet away from any residents somewhere in the area. And I don't know what you're paying the town for a monthly rental.
But it's not for the town, it's to the fire department.
Or the fire department, but some private residential property owner who might have, several acres of property might want to have you put it on their property and have you pay them. I worked on a number of houses when the gas lines came down from Canada. And the homeowners, of course, many people didn't want the gas line. They cut 100-foot swath through property. Some of the homeowners were delighted with what the gas company was paying them. And these were private properties. So you might find a private property as opposed to a town property. You're a homeowner, someone owning 5 or 10 acres in that area. Put your tower, 500, 1,000 feet away from a residence. That might be an option. I don't know if you're looking to anything like that.
The problem with relocating, finding, a vacant, basically like a field or something. The issue is we're not going to be able to provide the coverage to the areas that we need to, which is why this location works. Because there's a coverage gap, and that's, we would definitely have considered something like that if we could find it.
Okay. All right, well, on the record, I'm opposed to this.
Thank you, Mr. Rand. Anybody else like to come up? Luke, is anybody online?
See if I can let them talk.
Sure.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you introduce yourself, please, and provide your address?
Yes, my name is Michelle Del Regno. I live on Bell Tower. And I just want to reiterate, what the others have mentioned, that, I'm opposed to having this tower put on the property there, because even though I live on Bell Tower, so I'm not directly impacted, it's going to be an eyesore. And we already have the one tower there that we're looking at. So, I'm really opposed to having to, look down the street and see this big tower there. The question that I have for the AT&T representative is, has anyone considered, or were one of the sites that, was evaluated, the property for the church, Pinnacle Lutheran Church, that's, I don't know, 200-300 feet from where this proposed location is, and they have a big open field? Was that ever looked at or considered?
Yes, we actually were in lease negotiations with the church, but they backed out.
Okay, because that wouldn't impact as many residents. It's not as close to the residents, so, something like that I think would be a better option. I'm curious why the church backed out.
I mean, I don't know. They just told us that they were no longer interested. So that was the end.
The other question that I'd like to ask is, wherever this tower is erected, is there any concealment that's going to be utilized around it so that it doesn't, I've seen them where they have greenery on them, etc. Is there any plan for that?
I think the towers blend in better when you just keep them like a flat gray finish. They blend in more with the background rather than trying to turn it into a monopine where it would, I think that would just make it more obvious. So I think just, the board may recommend that it be like a steel gray or something like that, because that will blend into the background more so than, turning it into something
I
different.
know oftentimes they can take shorter poles and disguise them as trees or put them
Yeah.
in bell towers or something like that, but this one's going to be a little bit too tall for something I think like that, but right, good point. Michelle, did
Yeah.
you have any other questions?
No other questions. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. There was a second party online? Okay,
Michael, if you do wish to speak, there's a button to raise your hand.
Michael's with Centerline. He's one of my project managers.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, you can speak up, Mike.
Good evening.
I'm Susan Lowe, Lowe. I'm at 15 Legacy Oak Trail. Michelle raised the point about landscaping of sorts, which raised the question in my mind, is there going to be fencing around it? And if so, how tall? What kind of eyesore will that be? The other thing that occurs to me is the other pole going to be demolished, gotten rid of? Are we going to end up with two poles back there? Well, those are my thoughts that arose just recently.
Okay, thank you. Brenda?
Okay, as far as fencing, there's no proposed fence, so you won't be looking at a fence. I mean, as far as the wooden pole, that belongs to the fire department, and I believe that they're going to keep it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come forward? Any other questions from the board at this point? Okay. Well, since was mainly informational, Mr. Young, I think we need to formally table this. Is that correct for this evening? Sure. Thank you, Mr. Martin.
maybe that poll that told me it's more of a engineering. I would like to know if the applicant and the, fire department could at least look at maybe an alternate site within the. You know, I'll be honest, I can't agree with the residents, even though I think the falls are going to work. But we still have to do those. But it is literally. Maybe on the north side of the building. You know, there's room there, or maybe on the other side of the parking lot. On one side of the building, there's. What parking lot, what do you do that, in my humble opinion. But I guess between now and then, I would like the applicant. For the parking, purpose of the, maybe there's no location that work better.
Brenda, is that amenable?
Yeah, we can talk to the fire department and see if we can come to an,
Okay.
agreement on another location if this one.
I'm glad the chief was here tonight to hear some of these comments and concerns and, so very good.
Chris, what about that? There's a small town park right up there. I don't think the size of the property kind of behooves a 90-foot pole. But I was just curious about,
The Educators Park?
I,
Oh, but I know there's also a smaller park that's probably close to.
Let me jump on that.
Yeah.
Typically, parkland is not able to be utilized for non-park purposes.
Parkland alienation.
Yeah.
Good point. Sorry, Don, you got to stall for another 15 minutes. So we did make a mistake or when my department mailed out the mailings, we had on the letter 7 o'clock, but we also had 6 o'clock on the agenda. So thankfully, the residents came here at 6 o'clock, but there's always a potential that we may get some people here at 7. So I can certainly stay. And, if anybody has any questions when they come in, I want to make sure they're answered. Or we can hang out for another 15 minutes and see what happens. I will leave it up to the board. It was my mistake, so my apologies.
you let us know how everything goes.
Will do, Patty.
Well, Mr. Young, we do need to act on this, correct? And
But
some-
yes,
The board is requesting, at least the engineer has said, that he needs additional time to review the submittals. I think, is it true, applicant, that you have agreed to provide, additional drawings if you don't come to an agreement on an alternative location?
I mean, we'll look at the location and then we'll, if it's feasible from AT&T's perspective and the fire departments, then we would have to go out, visit the site and do like a whole new, plan. It would be a total redesign. And I don't think we could have that done by the next meeting.
yeah,
We might be, we may be able to come up with like a concept sketch, like just some kind of a design, if we can get right out there and, look at the property and, take a look and see what we can come up with a sketch. We'll have to coordinate with the fire department to do that.
All right, would you agree to toll, the time to review this application until you get back to us with that information?
I can agree to that.
Right. And the next meeting, of course, is August 20th at 6 PM, not 7, but 6 PM, Don. But again, for the residents that are here, if this does come for the next meeting, we will send notices out as well as we did before, like we did before.
You're welcome.
Yes. Yes.
So it sounds like the applicant is going to take some additional time to look at this more closely. And that the board, I suppose you can make a motion to table, but you're not going to move forward with the board's going to decline to move forward with any action tonight.
Correct.
Pending
So there's
that
no
additional-
formal thing we have to do per se. I mean. you can just-
I wouldn't say you have to do that.
All right.
Yeah. I think you're just gonna, no one wants to make a motion to approve it tonight, then there's
Okay.
no motion made. I would say though, that with 10 minutes left before 7, my advice would be to hang out until 7. So that if any applicants come up, they don't feel as if, they didn't have the opportunity after driving here to address the board.
Okay. Now we can take a recess for 10 minutes, and we'll re-adjourn or re-meet at 7 o'clock.
Very good. Thank you.
Sorry, Patty, I tried. I could tell the board what we have on for the next meeting, but the applications, tomorrow is the submittal date. But I will say that, there's a new restaurant opening up. This got a special use permit. It's, Dave's Hot Chicken Wings. Dave's Hot Chicken. It's gonna go where the former, Boston Market is.
Oh, wow.
They have some unique building elevations. So we are going to bring them before the board, hopefully next meeting for that, for the board to take a look at. Like I said, they're a little unusual, but again,
Is that a chain? Dave's Hot
I
Chicken?
think so.
it's out
Yeah.
of California. They don't have many locations, but it's out of California.
Yeah, people say it's pretty good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think this is the first one in Monroe County, if I remember correctly, from what they've said at the special use permit here.
Who's been to Shake Shack yet?
I was gonna say, who's been to Shake Shack? I haven't been there.
Anybody?
Craig's been there a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah,
I was short the other day. I know, it's getting there. Hey, Craig,
been there 3 times. I haven't eaten there though.
what about the, remember when BJ's came to us about a fun little tower that, and that never went up, whatever, does anybody know whatever happened to that?
No. Like a cell tower or?
No,
Cell tower.
it was, it looked like a green tower,
Oh,
but it was a,
there's one of them we approved for the, oh, this is the one that opened.
we approved it, but I don't think it ever went up.
I don't think
Yeah.
the coal tower ever went in. I think they walked back from that from their own safety concern. I think it was your comment of people climbing it.
I
Yep.
think you're right.
Yeah,
Yes.
because they would have to put a fence around
Yeah,
it.
you're
and-
probably right.
Kids climbing up
Yeah.
there and yep, they said enough.
You're welcome.
Are there any other applications you're expecting, or is that it?
Uh,
I mean, that have been filed so far?
nothing's been filed. Tomorrow's the closing date at noon, so obviously I'll know a little bit more after tomorrow, but, it's been, as you can see, a little light the last couple meetings. We do have, Benderson, for Market Square. They have a back parcel, that's vacant. So it used to be where our Genie used to have their, like transformers. In fact, I think there was a tower back there at one point. They would like to develop that, but we probably won't see plans until probably the October, November meeting. Yeah, back in through there.
Was that,
And-
was that Merson? That was an email about the Merson company at Jefferson Road facade. improvements.
facade.
That's not something, that was just a discussion item?
Yeah, that was just, take a discussion to see what the board felt.
I like them.
Looked
It looked good.
awesome.
It looked good.
It sure
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot better than what's there.
Yeah, I used to be a customer of mine. I just drove by there the same day I read it and I looked at it and I said, wow, that building looks so old. Literally that same day we got that drawing and I'm like, wow.
Predated look.
Yeah, very dated. That was beautiful, kept the circle window and.
Oh,
really-
right, the one on Jefferson
Yeah,
Road. there, yeah.
but it just brightened it, just made it modern and it was awesome looking.
So you could type
Well,
up. those
there's some
comments.
inside,
Did you not get that done?
What, no, but.
No, it must have been an oversight on my part.
missed the memo.
I was just gonna invite the board to, the New York Planning Federation's training.
Are you one
Since
of
we
the
have
guest-
time to burn,
Are you one of the guest speakers?
I'll be giving a case law update. And if you can't make it, we have a light meeting, maybe I can just bring it.
When
bring
and
it
when
home
and
here.
where?
But to be
John?
honest, because now would that count for educational credits for our town board?
As long as the town board accepts it.
Or if I'm planning board,
If
I'm
the
sorry.
town board accepts it,
Yeah.
sure, yeah, it's a case law update designed for planning and zoning.
How long would you talk
When
for?
and where?
When and where?
As long as you let me, but I,
I'm sorry,
it's
case law.
it's an hour long.
An hour long.
Let me see if I can, so this one, they're putting it on, let's see, give me a second, I'll find the details.
Mhm.
Let's see. Okay, August 2nd, 2024.
Hmm.
Finger Lakes Community College in Canandaigua, New York. 9 o'clock, I have to 10:30 is a case law update. And then there's another presentation.
Is that a weekday?
I think it's a Friday.
Oh, it's a Friday, okay.
Yeah.
What's the cost?
August 2nd.
I'm not sure.
Because we could have it here for free if my,
I'd be
Right?
happy, well, I'd be happy to give my portion of it here,
Right,
at some
right.
point, sure, yeah. There's also two other sessions that same day, one's from, Diana Smith on shifting from conflict management to positive communication.
sounds riveting.
And then, from 1 o'clock to 2:30, growing sustainability from Matt Horn.
All right, well, that might be interesting.
Heavy stuff.
Is Jerry Goldman going to speak? Because I hear he's a very good speaker.
I don't see him on the list,
Oh,
yeah.
I miss
Sorry.
Jerry. Where's he been?
I don't know.
Yeah, I miss him too.
They haven't really done a lot of controversial stuff here. All we get are the cell towers. And apartments, or yeah, multifamily.
Car washes.
Car washes.
And
yeah, car
Starbucks.
wash. Well, you laugh, but we do have a potential, the car wash, in the old Suburban Plaza, Town Center Plaza.
Ruby?
Yeah.
They want to add some additional, vacuum islands.
I think you mentioned that last time. I
Yeah,
think.
they mentioned it and then we hadn't heard anything for a couple months, so sometimes things do go away, but it looks like they may be coming back for that one. So we may review that administratively, so we'll have to take a look at it.
They've got the clearing all done for those apartments down there across the street there. Or a lot of the clearing
Yeah.
done. Yeah, they sure are.
So Don, yours is called case law. What is your,
The 2024 planning and zoning case law update.
A lot of people have been saying.
I'll be
it,
talking
it's
about
sad, Dear.
Cases over the past
Sad
year or
year.
so that were decided,
Depressed Rick.
that have an impact on planning and zoning boards.
Did you know where you came in?
Or that relate to
that way.
matters that a planning or zoning
2024
board might.
planning board case law update.
Mhm.
Oh, we got 3 minutes. How
Or
many,
be, not a beaver, but.
how many credit hour, be 1 credit hour then?
Gopher. Yeah.
I think it's, I would assume it's
Yeah.
1 hour per,
A little
For each
flunk.
section.
it just matches up, yeah, if it's an
Okay.
hour and a half, then.
What if you talk like really fast for
But,
an hour?
I've got
Can
a
we get like
dog.
2 hours out of it?
He considers the rabbits.
know about
kind
that,
of a
Chris.
Part of the
How
household.
much, do you know,
but
Patty, how many hours
he's going
the,
out there and like
a training the board needs?
scattering them from the yard.
Yeah, I believe it's.
You're never gonna
4
catch one.
How many you got so far?
He just kind of.
Chris, let me, excuse me, was this door gonna be open, right? I
think they
mean, if
come
they
Yeah,
were out
so we
with it-
did talk to, in fact, I will double check, but we did have them leave the doors open till 7:30,
Okay,
just to accommodate anyone that might be here. But sometimes when you ask for things, you don't always get it. But I would say in 2 minutes, we can let everybody go.
yeah.
This is probably better. It's nice talking to people. I've just been by myself. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's.
So I guess they've confirmed it was a tornado that hit Canandaigua yesterday. Yep,
Was it?
yep.
Okay. Kind of strange weather here.
Sure is. Becoming more and more like Florida.
Yeah, yeah, it's been weird.
For a good couple of days, so.
Weather's gonna be really nice next few days.
So you got the summer off, right? You're not doing any bus driving at all? No. Good.
Plenty of other projects. Are you busy? Are you busy?
Up at, yeah, it's getting
Yeah.
busier.
Where you move, you go like drive from store to store?
No,
Is that what you're doing?
no, like Riverfront from our store to the shops, within 6 miles.
Within 6 miles?
Yep, that's our radius. So you own a shop, you can do the brake job.
Nobody's milling around. I checked both doors.
Excuse me, okay, we will re-adjourn, or we, I'm sorry, reassemble and, con- didn't need to, we're just going to, yeah,
We get it in the minutes that it was Chris's mistake?
I got that already.
it's in bold, caps in bold. No,
See?
oh, the minute, thank you. I thought you meant, I did forget the minutes from last meeting. So yes, thank you, Mrs. Brill. So before we adjourn, The chairman did forget to get the minutes from the June 18th meeting approved. So are there any comments or concerns regarding those minutes? And if not, the chair will entertain a motion.
I show motion that we approve those minutes.
Second.
Mr. Liss and Ms. Safranek, thank you very much. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. And we have the minutes approved. Thank you, Mrs. Brill, very much. Oh, one abstain, Mr. Eckert. Okay. So, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses. And one abstain. Okay. If nothing further, the chair will adjourn the meeting at 7:01. Thank you, everybody.